Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is a pretty unexpected video that honestly I had no idea I was gonna make until right now, because some pretty big-ish news, I guess you could say, about a certain game came out like a couple of hours ago, and I'm still kind of processing it because it's kind of odd in a certain way. So I don't know where Naughty Dog, that's right, Naughty Dog, mostly famous for games like The Last of Us, The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter, at some point even Crash Bandicoot. You guys know who Naughty Dog is. I don't need to explain to you who these guys are. This dude has made some pretty great games through the course of the years. And out of nowhere, one of their biggest games of next year got leaked. By who? I don't know who could have leaked it. I don't know how it got leaked. But the huge big game that got leaked was The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Now this is nothing exactly new. There were already kind of talks surfacing around that there was a Last of Us Part 2 remake remastered for the PlayStation 5 that was being in development. The whole point is that this is not really that much of a big news. We already kind of expected this to happen. But here's the thing, this is nothing that really gets anybody excited. At least it's not making me excited. I really don't care about this because Last of Us Part 2 for the PlayStation 4 works perfectly fine on that PlayStation 5. So what's even the point of me buying this remastered when I can just play that version of the game on my PS5? Now, before anybody comes to attack me, because I know some pretty hardcore Last of Us and hardcore Naughty Dog defenders are already here typing in the comments telling me how I'm fucking wrong, how I should oof myself. But hear me out, okay? I get it. There is some kinda new-ish content being added to this specific version of the game. I think they said that they're adding new missions or new segments that were cut from the original version of the game. So in a way, this is kind of a director's cut version, kind of like how Ghost of Tsushima did that for the PS5 version of that game. Death Stranding did that as well. Another thing that they're adding is this co-op multiplayer online thing where you just kind of, I guess, go through hordes of infected. Cool, I guess. This is stuff that I don't really give that much of a shit about, honestly. But specifically, that last part that I mentioned is kinda odd in a way, because wasn't Naughty Dog already working like in an online-focused Last of Us spin-off game, which kind of has been going through a lot of development hell recently? There's not much information coming from the game. Some people that are working on that game are moved to a different game at Naughty Dog. Maybe this is kind of their compensation for that, while people are still waiting on the multiplayer spin-off game, but still, I don't care. Now, one other thing that was mentioned is that people that own the PlayStation 4 version of the game will be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version or to the remastered version for $10. Yeah, it's not much, it's not a lot of money, but wouldn't it be better if just make the update free? I know, crazy idea, right? I don't know, these things don't really excuse this being like priced to the same price to a new game. This is kind of why I wanted to make this video. Since The Last of Us Part 1 remaster/remake came out or was announced, there's been kind of a weird discussion around remakes and remasters and what really deserves to be remade and what deserves to be remastered and what really puts the value on a remake/remaster. It's an interesting conversation that kind of gets a little bit feisty sometimes on the internet. I'll say this, or at least my stance on this. I think it's kind of wrong to put these two games with very minor changes in putting a big ol' full price stamp on them. I just believe that's anti-consumer. I don't think it's right, especially because the already existing versions of these games look pretty fine as they are. Maybe you can make an argument for the Last of Us Part 1 remake/remaster version where, yeah, you can see that it does look different, like it does look more detailed, the graphics are definitely upgraded. It's still the same game overall, so what even is the fucking point? Like, the only thing that you just did is put Last of Us Part 2 graphics on the original game. I just don't get it. To me, that doesn't look like a $70 price game, if you're asking me at least. One thing that I don't want to mention is that The Last of Us Part 1 is on discount right now, but before, it was at full price $70, and that's gonna go back like it was. I don't know what the exact price is going to be for Last of Us Part 2 remastered version on PS5. What I am predicting is that it's going to be put on full price $70. And I specifically think that this conversation is more interesting right now because very recently the Super Mario RPG remake came out. Yeah, it's a one-to-one remake of the original game, but to me that is more justifiable to have an actual remake/remaster. The original Super Mario RPG is not very accessible. It's a game that you can't just get anywhere or download anywhere, at least legally. So to have a remake that people that grew up with the original game can replay it, but also now people that never played the original can experience it for the first time is great. A remake like this makes total sense. Another Nintendo related one is the Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remaster/remake that they're doing for the Nintendo Switch. This specifically is a game that you can't get anywhere unless you want to pay a shit ton of money on eBay or Amazon to just get the goddamn thing. This new version of the game is going to be good for people that love the original and for people that never played the original. So these two examples that I just named are very beneficial to these two different groups. Another point related to these two games is that these games are old as shit. They are very old. So if any game deserves these remakes and these remasters, it's these two games, because at least these games are old enough that they deserve it. But now with The Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 remastered, this shit is just looking obnoxious. These games are not old. Just specifically one tweet recently that came out from this guy doing a comparison of a scene from The Last of Us Part 2 in the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 remastered edition. I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm like, this looks the exact same. This shit looks identical. I can literally point out not a single thing that looks different. It just looks like Naughty Dog has only made 2 games in their entire life. You got other games that maybe you could put this type of effort into. I mean, when was the last time we ever saw a Jak and Daxter game? The original Jak and Daxter came out in 2001. This game is old as fuck. If any game that Naughty Dog has that deserves a remake is Jak and Daxter, or at least a new installment. Oh, maybe, what about this? Maybe make up a new IP. I know, crazy, right? And let me just be completely clear about this. This is not me being against remasters. This is not me being against remakes whatsoever. I think remakes and remasters, especially in the gaming world, are very important, especially nowadays where they're trying to lock up and really try to pull games away from you. Remakes and remasters are more important than ever. But if you're gonna do them, at least be a little bit more logical on them. At least think about which games deserve them more, rather than what's gonna make the most money. And this is the comment that's gonna really piss off Naughty Dog / Last of Us fans. Let's just stop fucking around and be honest with ourselves. These two remasters / remakes, whatever you want to call them, are just plain old cash grabs. They are the literal definition of cash grabs, because they don't add much new, and the stuff that they do add that you could consider in quotations new is not really worth the full price if you're being completely honest. And again, I'm not making this a Nintendo versus Sony thing or Mario versus Last of Us thing. This has nothing to do with that. I don't give a shit about your stupid fucking console wars, okay? I don't care. Like Last of Us for PlayStation 4, I don't even think it's 10 years old. And Last of Us Part 2 is like 3-4 years old. So it's like, why are you remaking games? Why are you remastering games that don't really need them? These games are already very accessible to people. I just don't get it. I don't know how to wrap my head around this. But hey, this was a pretty nice discussion. At the end of the day, I just kind of wanted to discuss this with you guys because I'm kind of conflicted on this. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this whole thing and what is your opinion on what games should be remade and what games should be remastered, you know? Leave it down in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think about this. But like always, good day, good night, and stay safe.